So the Brexit results has just came in, and the results are quite surprising. In this video, I'll talk about my thoughts and the facts about Brexit and its consequences. So first of all, this is the results of the polls. As you can see, most cities in Northern Ireland and Scotland voted to remain in the EU, while most cities in England voted to leave the EU. And secondly, before getting into the consequences, I'd like to talk about the main motivation UK citizens have for wanting to leave the EU. Now, a lot of citizens in the UK think that the rules and regulations that the EU put in place in UK law, um, they feel like the EU doesn't know the cultural influences it might impact Britain in. Like the refugee laws, Britain might not like might go against the values that British culture has. And secondly, they just they basically don't want the EU making decisions for the UK as they feel like they're capable of making decisions for themselves. Now, let's talk about the consequences. Now, what you're seeing here on screen is Port Calais. Port Calais is basically a UK border that's emplaced in French soil. So why is it so special and why am I talking about Port Calais? So in the impact of the refugee crisis that's currently happening now in Europe, a lot of countries are taking in a lot of refugees, but Britain isn't taking in a lot of refugees. Now, this is due to a number of reasons, being Britain's physical attributes being an island, and secondly, it's because refugees can't ask for asylum unless they're in British soil, and the nearest British soil that Britain has connected to mainland Europe is Dover. Now, the border that Dover has, unfortunately, is located in France. It's Port Calais, which is what you're seeing on screen. So, what this means is that refugees that want to take asylum in the UK, um, they have, they basically need to they basically need to breach Port Calais and travel there through ferries or ships or whatnot. Now, what does it have effect on the UK if the UK leaves the EU, in which it did? Um, Basically, the French Prime Minister, François Hollande, has threatened the UK that if they were to leave the EU, consequences might occur. So I'm basically thinking that France might move back the UK border into Dover, and instead of having it in Calais, which means that the UK might actually be taking in more refugees than if it would have stayed in the EU, which is quite quite ironic since it's one of the main motivations of leaving the EU. Now, secondly, I'd like to talk about David Cameron. Recently, I'm not sure what hour it is, but David Cameron's just announced that he will be resigning. Now, why is he resigning? It is known that David Cameron has pushed the citizens of the UK that to remain in the EU. He believes that remaining in the EU will result in a stronger, more stable Britain. And it might be true depending on your views, but he's just announced that um, with a heavy heart, he's announcing that he will be resigning in the next 3 months. So, in this next 3 months, he will be trying to stabilize the UK and basically, like, he's taking responsibility into his hands and he'll try to stabilize the UK as much as possible. But in the next 3 months, he'll announce that a new parliamentary vote will occur that will dictate the new prime minister. and this is actually quite sad to see him go since he has accomplished a lot of things in the UK for the UK. Um, he's made the UK, the British pound sterling, the highest currency it's ever been in its lifetime. So I'm personally sad to see him go. And the last consequences we have is the pound sterling drops. So recently, or yeah, recently, the pound sterling has dropped like crazily. Has dropped crazily. Um, the pound sterling is currently, or like several hours ago, in its lowest ever point in 30 years, which I don't know about you guys, but it's not looking good for Britain. Several hours has passed since the announcement that they'll be leaving the EU, and well, drastic occurrences have already occurred. So it's looking quite grim for the UK. But yeah, if you, I really want to know what you guys think of this situation. Where do you stand on this argument? I'd really like it for you guys to comment your opinions on the current matter. And if you're a UK citizen or a EU citizen, I'd like to know how this affects your daily life or your life in general. So if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe. And thanks for watching the video, guys.